Welcome. So our video today is inspired on a very simple but profound concept of just shifting into awareness. Sometimes I think we can get so focused on our problems or trying to fix ourselves that basically our brains keep rewiring those same patterns of the problem or the stuckness. So I think holding all that with a sense of compassion and increased awareness is really important. And I'll be taking some inspiration from some readings today, which will hope to kind of keep pointing towards that increased awareness. So let's begin by laying down on our mats. So once you arrive, you'll set yourself up in your alternate rest pose. So perhaps the feet are a little wider, the knees drawing a little closer together. The arms could be down by the sides, the shoulders relaxing. Or you might just find comfort in placing one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Whatever serves you. Just take a moment to really arrive for your practice, for yourself. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to move into the present moment, in the present, with compassion, with curiosity. So start here with the body and with the breath. Maybe even checking in with the mind and the heart, any predominant thoughts or emotions that come to the mat with you. Really using the fullness of your breath to come into present moment. And as you continue to breathe deeply, I'd like to offer you some inspiration. This is from Spirituality in Health, and it's from Kevin Anderson. It's interesting, he entitles this article, When Attention Gets Attention. When attention gets attention. That idea of what we put our minds on continues to grow. So I'm just going to read to you a little bit here. A reader poses a question of trying to fix her self-esteem problems. So this is basically answering her question in his kind of playful way. A playful way to answer your question about fixing your self-esteem is to explore a different meaning of fix. When a problem refuses to be fixed, it may indicate that we need to fix our attention on it in a different way. What you resist persists can be restated as, what you try to fix stays in the mix. The ego self will always have self-esteem problems because its nature is to generate them by striving, comparing, craving, and judging. The fix is not to get rid of the ego self and the self-esteem problems it creates, but to increase our awareness of a noticing self that can bring compassion to the part of us caught in judging its worth. The Sufi mystic Rumi puts it this way: in that moment, you are drunk on yourself. You lock yourself away in cloud after cloud of grief. And in that moment, you leap free of yourself. The moon catches you and hugs you in its arms. Let free of yourself is the invitation and encouragement to live beyond the ego self. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. Just pondering the Surfi poem one more time. In that moment, you are drunk on yourself, ego. You lock yourself away in cloud after cloud of grief. And in that moment, you leap free of yourself. Increased awareness. We leap free of ourselves. The moon catches you and hugs you in its arms. We could also fathom to say that God catches you and hugs you in his arms. Lots to muse upon there. But let's start doing some yoga. So we'll begin with awareness of our body. So when you feel ready, hold opposite elbows and start making some circles. They could be really small, they could be bigger. Just moving in a way that you feel guided to. Just check in and notice the upper body. Again, without labeling, without judging, simply observing your own body with a greater sense of neutrality and acceptance. When you're ready, circle in the other direction. Breathing deeply, opening a bit into the side body, opening a bit into your own heart. And whenever that feels complete, just set the arms down. Take a full breath. Kind of setting down burdens. Moving into present moment. And when you're ready, we'll hug in one knee and the other. Maybe cross your ankles or keep the legs together. We'll offer lots of different options in the practice to truly make this your own. So start circling in any way that serves you. Becoming a little bit more aware of your lower body and how it comes to the mat today. Noticing any inner dialogue. I have a bad back. I have bad hips. Could we flip it and just offer gratitude that we are moving and practicing yoga here today in this body, however it presents itself. Circle in the other direction. Keep breathing deeply. When that feels complete, let's maybe draw our left knee in towards the chest, relaxing the right leg down towards the earth. Relaxing across the shoulders, softening across the face. Breathing deeply into your right psoas. This is a muscle that we tend to kind of hold tightly to, holding everything together physically, emotionally. Breathe into it. Like that idea of being embraced by the moon, embraced by this present moment, embraced by a loving God. And when you're ready, maybe stretch your body long. And take it to the other side. So hugging the right leg in, relaxing and opening into the left psoas muscle. Anytime you want to take an open mouth, full exhale to just really feel yourself arriving into this moment. Feel free. And then when you're ready, bend both legs. Feel guided to do just a little bit of core work today. So lots of modifications. Again, moving kind of outwards to inwards, checking in with our deep core, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Continuing to fall back with awareness into our true self. So we could start simply by inhaling, arms over the head, exhaling, hugging one knee into the chest. Deep press into the opposite foot, engaging core. Keep it flowing. Maybe inhale up. Exhale, hug the other knee into the chest. Keep going with your own breath. Really feel the full exhale, the power of letting go and engaging into your core. If you wanted to expand a little bit more, you could lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Again, this is your practice. This is your body. Just engaging with your core. You could also be resting here, or if you want to expand a little more, you could kind of do a little bicycle action. And the freedom in your practice to modify, to kind of do what your body wants to do today with compassion. Then maybe you hug yourself into a little ball. You could also be resting. Gently lower down. Take a few deep breaths to feel. And not just feeling your core physically, but also feeling your core spiritually. What would it mean to have a steady, still place within you that you could fall back to? A place of compassion, to hold all of yourself. As you fell back into the arms of your God, or the moon, the sun, the earth. And then take your arms up into a T. Take your feet a little wider. First, feel this expansion up into the heart, the mind, the breath. And then windshield wiper your legs in a way that makes sense to you. And continue to make a little space in the psoas. Providing more freedom in the body. Freedom for the spirit. If it feels good, you might linger in one direction for a few more breaths. And letting your body just be this expression. What would it like to do here to feel into your body, your breath? Maybe you place your one hand onto the ribs, one hand over your head. Maybe you like that open-hearted expression, arms in a T. Really full breath, feeling the arising, the falling of each breath and the way it fills in the space of the body. And then take it to the other side. In your practice, you could place hand on body, you could keep the arms out into a T. Maybe your deepest breath yet. When that feels complete, come back to neutral. Take a breath. And we'll prepare to transition. So let's gently roll to either side. We're gonna come up and find our way into our tabletop position. So once you arrive here, and we've probably done cat and cow many, many times in our lives, let's see if we can bring in a new sense of awareness to this present moment, your body doing cat and cow. So as you inhale, tip that pelvis forward, lift the heart and notice the spine. As you exhale, round that spine in the other direction, draw up into that strong core, and just keep it going. Maybe noticing with awareness each little part of the spine and how it moves. Whenever you're ready, we'll sink down into child's pose. So maybe the toes touch, knees widen. You're gonna draw the hips back. Let's first take a little moment to explore the side body, each side body. So we'll walk our hands first over to the right. You might stay high, just creating a little C shape on the left side of the body, exploring the waist. You might feel comfortable to come onto your elbows. I tend to bend my right arm and reach with the left. Dropping forehead. Again, listen to your body. We're doing the pose to create more breath, expansion, awareness into the left side waist. When you're ready, walk it back up and over towards the left. Sink those hips back, again, your way to find exploration of the right side of your waist. Maybe this side feels different. Notice. And then return to center, dropping down into your child's pose again. Your way, you might keep your arms long, exploring that space on the side waist. You might feel like melting your elbows. You might feel like rolling your palms up. You know your body. I'm just going to rise up here to offer you another reading. So linger in your child's pose. With deep breath. This is from Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. One, he's talking of seeking, maybe the opposite of awareness, to overly seek. He says, don't seek happiness. If you seek it, you won't find it, because seeking is the opposite of happiness. Happiness is ever elusive, but freedom from unhappiness is attainable now. By facing what is, rather than making up stories about it. Unhappiness covers up your natural state of well-being and inner peace, the source of our true happiness. So again, rather than being your thoughts and emotions, can we be the awareness behind them? Increasing our awareness rather than seeking to always be happy, to always be peaceful. So whenever you're ready, rise up from your child's pose back into your tabletop, and we're just going to be coming into our downward facing dog. So you can tuck your toes and lift your hips up to the sky. Again, your down dog, your body. You can pedal, you can sway, you could say, I don't want to do downward facing dog today. I want to stay in child's, listening. But can you make space? Release the judgment of how things look. And just be with your body, be with this moment. Whenever you're ready, mindfully walk those feet forward towards the hands. And we'll slowly roll our way up. Finding ourselves in mountain pose. In your practice, do the arms want to rest by the sides? Do you like hands on heart? One hand on belly? Just take a moment, if it feels comfortable and natural, to close your eyes down. To truly check in. Feeling your feet on your mat, knowing you're truly present here in your body. Feel the breath moving in your body. Making space for awareness to arise. When you're ready, relax those arms, and we're just going to move very gently. The first is a few different variations of arm salutations. So next inhale, reach your right arm over your head, pass it down the midline. And then next inhale, rise that other arm up, left arm up and out. So we're kind of moving like yin and yang in opposite directions. Next inhale, sweep both arms up, taking the scope of all awareness, all things, back to the heart. And we'll do that again. So inhale, right arm sweeps up and out, coming down the midline, drawing in all things. Maybe as we rise up the center, we're centering a little more on inner awareness, outer awareness, and then all things. Again, with your own breath, you can vary this. Starting with the outer world, moving inward. Starting with the inner world, moving outward. And all of it. The messy, the beautiful, all of it. One more time. Pause at your heart center. Observe without any clinging, judgment, labeling. Rest rest your arms, and now we'll move a little bit more into the side body. Same kind of idea, you'll see. Sweep your right arm up, little side bend, all the way over. Left arm sweeps up, all the way over. So putting both kind of sides of that yin and yang together and uniting. Do that a few more times. Inhale, right arm sweeps up and over, laterally bend. Other side. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling them together. This idea of unity. Even creating unity within ourselves. Again, all those polar opposites we try to label, good, bad, needing to be fixed. How about we just embrace it all? One more time. Pause for a moment. Maybe you'd like to linger for a little deeper stretch in each side of your body. So your way, you might reach the hands up, make your little temple mudra, and side bend, or you could let the other arm hang heavy. Again, keeping our hearts open, so we have hearts open to just process and witness all things. Come on up. Take it to your other side. Again, your way. Sometimes I really like the gravity of the opposite arm. Sometimes I like the little tug. And each time you come to the mat, maybe you need something a little different. When you're ready, let it go. Maybe roll the shoulders back. Take a moment to observe. And let's move into a twist. I love lateral movements and twists for just helping us to increase our bodily awareness. Psychologically, as you twist from side to side, you're seeing a broader perspective. Definitely came to this particular spot to see a broader perspective. Nature helps us do that, as well as our yoga practice and our daily practices of just pausing and breathing, remembering, and becoming aware. Again, this is your twist. You might like to tap in the back. Notice how I'm lifting opposite heel to open that psoas. You might like the open-hearted gesture. And when you're ready, return to yourself. All right, so we've moved the spine in a couple directions. Let's try a little forward and back. So we're going to come into a half sun salutation. So we'll kind of break it down a little bit. So as you inhale, reach up. Really lift your heart. Notice this is opening the front body. And maybe we can squeeze the shoulder blades. We're strengthening just a little bit into the back body. Upward lift, gentle back bend. And then next exhale, fold forward into your forward fold. Kind of folding in on yourself. Little stretch in the back of the body, your way, knees as bent as they need to be. Next inhale, rise up halfway, your way, hands could be on the floor, shins, thighs. But create length from your crown to your tail, strengthening again through the back body, creating openness across the front. Maybe smile. And then touch that earth again. Touching earth, very valuable. Inhale, reach up to sky, expansion. And right back to your own heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, up. Baby back bend. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, rise. Finding yourself aware in this moment. One more time, let your own breath and inner guidance guide you through your half sun salutation. Feels complete. Pause again in your mountain. Feeling the solid, steady presence of your true self. Like you are the witness. Just noticing all these thoughts, emotions, experiences with a sense of wisdom, compassion, patience. Relax your hands. So before we move into a little deeper variation of a sun salutation, I'd like to guide us into the breath of joy. So our feet are a little wider. So some of you are familiar with the breath of joy, and often when I teach this, I'm cueing, taking in light, taking in goodness, releasing anything stale, negative. But even that type of languaging can make us attached to the good and feel that the negative emotions are less desirable or to be avoided. And in reality, there's a full spectrum of emotions that we all experience. So I think it's better to embrace them all. So as we do this, we'll think about just being aware of what's going on in our lives, taking in our own reality. And as we exhale and fold forward, maybe we just surrender into that stream or that quality of being hugged by the moon, being embraced by a loving God. So I'll guide you here. So again, your feet are a little wide as your hips at least. Inhale, arms forward, out and up like we're sipping in 3 sips of awareness. And as we exhale, surrender to the flow. And if your back is sensitive, bend your knees. You could just bend right on down to your thighs and stay there, and then come back up. So I'll do that a couple more times. So inhaling, sipping in your reality. Exhaling, surrender to the stream of life. To the embrace of the moon, the sun, the earth, the loving arms of God. All right, let's do that a couple more times. I'll guide you, then just you let it on, let it flow. Inhale, forward, out, and up. Exhale, down. Keep it going your way. Sipping in awareness. Exhaling. Surrendering to that awareness. And held by the greater scope of life. Something greater than yourself. more time. When that feels complete, come towards the top of your mat and just stand in your mountain. On a little unsteady ground, it's all good. My reality. Stand in your mountain. Allow it all. When you're ready, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Big step back with your left foot. You can lower your knee. You're in our lunge here. You can rise up. A little bit more love or self-awareness into that left psoas, so you can dip in a little bit. You can stay right here. This can provide a nice sense of groundedness, keeping your hands on your thighs, tailbone drawing down, belly in. Or you might feel the nudge to lift your hands up towards the sky. You keep your gaze there. And then let's take a twist. Again, different variations. Your left hand could come to the thigh, your right hand could come out. I like this open-hearted twist here, particularly good if your back can be a little sensitive. You could stay here, or you could go into a prayer twist. Sliding that left arm down, taking the hands in prayer. Either version, we're lengthening our spine and taking a broader perspective. Even if we feel a little unsteady here, can we just be with that reality, be with our deep breath. Whenever you're ready, unravel. You might feel guided to reach to the sky, touch the earth, take that right leg back to meet the left in our tabletop, and we'll lower our bodies down. Reach the feet back. Lift that heart up in your cobra, your own version. Lower down. Press the body up. We'll just take a brief child's pose here, or you could draw back into downward facing dog, your practice. Centering breath. And then coming to find your lunge on the other side. So stepping that left foot forward and getting comfortable. We take our hands to the thigh. We can keep our hands on the thigh, nice and grounded. Or maybe reaching the hands up to the sky. Breathe into that right psoas. And then taking your version of a twist, right hand can come to the thigh, left hand can radiate out with an open palm, accepting all. Or maybe you come into your prayer twist, sliding that right arm down, taking hands into a prayer, and twisting on a long spine. Sometimes we can feel really stuck in our situation, but our yoga practice helps us to shift awareness, maybe find new solutions, or just rest in this place of stillness. Or rest in this place of wavering and being okay with it. Whenever you're ready, unravel. You can take that left foot back to meet the right. And let's draw back into, well, we might as well lower down and do another cobra. guided by intuition. Lower the body. Come up into your cobra your way. You might pinch your fingers out. Lower down. Press back to table. Back to downward facing dog just for transition. Our yoga practice can be a bit of a ritual. It's returning. That word came to me this morning. Returning, returning, returning. Returning to the body. Returning to awareness. Returning to that place inside of us that is less guided by ego. Whenever you're ready, walk your feet forward. And slowly roll your way up. So coming once again to your mountain. Notice. Our bodies also have this memory. So the ritual of our yoga and the ritual of our self-talk on our yoga mat can reinforce increased awareness, feelings of compassion and acceptance. So now we're going to do a movement that can sometimes bring up a little bit of ego. So we're going to try a balance posture, and I invite you to really play with this. If you do this video more than once, try to do different poses each time. Again, that sense of novelty, doing kind of things a little differently, not always the same, is good too. So root your left foot. I'm going to play a little bit here. Come onto your right tippy toe and just find balance here. This might be your place of balance today. Or you might draw that knee up, take out your offering hands, releasing judgment, releasing ego. This might be where you stay. You might decide you want to come into any version of tree. I'm just going to flow a little bit here, but I want you to choose one and stay with it. You could do a warrior 3. Standing leg back. I think I'm going to turn this way. Warrior 3. Could be small, could be big. One more version, one more variation. I'm going to try dancer. Again, this is your call. You could just be staying in tree. You could be resting right now. This is just a little play of balance, releasing the ego. Not really breaking down the poses here, assuming you might know them, but just take a pose and go back to tree. Whenever you're ready, let it go, a little shake. Pause before we do the other side. Again, releasing the urge to judge, the urge to hold your breath and fight with your reality. If you're going to tip over, let it be. Let's try the other side. So root into your right foot. Come onto your left tippy toe. You can start with the toe, get grounded. Come back to your core. Spiritually, physically. You might lift that knee up, take out your offering hands, and then just play with it here. Stay here, or take any of those variations. You could come down and take a rest. You could do tree, warrior 3, eagle. Ooh, eagle. Maybe not. You could do little dancer. Pick one pose to stay in for several breaths and just be with it. If you fall out, let it go. Breathe, focus. And there's little bubbles here. Notice the calm stream underneath the little bubbles. And whenever you're ready, let it go. Give it a shake. Alright, we're getting ready to come back down to the mat. So just come to the top of your mat. And there's no rush. When we rush on our yoga mat, I think we reinforce the rushing that goes in our lives. So I think it's really important to take a slow approach to our yoga when we're working a little more towards spiritual concepts and the psychology of yoga. So just pause and become aware. Whenever you're ready, inhale up. Exhale, fold. Come down to your hands and your knees. Maybe you shift the hips a bit from side to side, releasing the hips. And we're going to come to rest in crocodile. If you know resting on your belly just doesn't serve you, you can be back in child's pose or honestly taking any other pose that serves you. But if you're going into your crocodile, you'll lower down. Maybe stretch your body long for a moment if that feels good to you. And then cross your arms, holding opposite elbows. Your toes are as wide as your mat. You can kind of wiggle a little bit here, releasing that psoas. And then when that feels comfortable, rest your forehead on your forearms. Again, if this doesn't serve you, you could take child's pose or any other resting pose. We're just taking a moment of stillness to really let breath move back into the back body, the kidneys. Or maybe you like the focal point of, as you inhale, send breath awareness into the elbows and toes. Deeper expansion of the body as a whole. Exhaling, releasing, and returning to your center, returning to that core. Who are you? Aside from all your roles and responsibilities. Meeting that person, that true self on your yoga mat today. And as you're resting here, in your resting pose, I'd like to offer another passage from Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. And he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," Jesus said, "for theirs will be the kingdom of heaven." What does poor in spirit mean? No inner baggage, no identifications, not with things, not with any mental concept that has a sense of self in them. No inner baggage. And what is the kingdom of heaven? The simple but profound joy of being that is there when you let go of identification and so become poor in spirit. And whenever you're ready, let's just press our bodies up and over for just a closing pose or two. We'll come on to our backs. As you come onto your back, maybe you draw one knee in, the other leg long. We did this in the beginning of our practice. Maybe observe your body, your mind, notice any subtleties. And you soften the back of your heart a little more. Changing sides your way. Using every full breath, inhale and exhale to meet this moment with awareness, what is arising and what is falling away. And then really responding to see what your body would like next. You might just like a little hug and squeeze. You might like a twist. You might like to come into happy baby. And responding to your body. What would it like next? Maybe an inversion. Taking another moment or two of just freedom in your body. The awareness to know what next movement, what next action would be just right for me. And when that feels complete, I want to guide you into just a really short Shavasana. We'll be ending our practice in meditation, but let's take the opportunity now that we're here to simply rest our bones, rest our minds and our hearts. So take the variation that serves you. You can stretch your legs out long. And I feel guided to keep them bent or bring them to a chair. As you rest here in your short Shavasana, I want to take you back to that Rumi quote. I feel that it says a lot about what we're trying to accomplish today. In that moment, you were drunk on yourself. You lock yourself away in cloud after cloud of grief. And in that moment, you leap free of yourself. Of your small self, of your ego self. The moon catches you and hugs you in its arms. Or if this language speaks to you, Father God or Jesus hugs you, embraces you, surrounds you with his presence. This opportunity to leap free of ourselves, to shift our awareness, is an invitation to align with our true self, our God, and go beyond the ego self. may want to just linger there in Shavasana. Hit the pause button. But if you're feeling guided to move upwards to end our practice with a short meditation, you can slowly arise. You could also do this meditation still lying down. You could take hero's pose or seated. Just find yourself in a place of comfort. First, just becoming aware of the way you placed your body. Aware of the breath moving in the body. And just using these words to kind of guide into a little contemplation type meditation. And again, this is from Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. See if you can catch, that is to say, notice, or become aware of the voice in the head. Perhaps in the very moment it complains about something, and recognize it for what it is, the voice of the ego. No more than a conditioned mind pattern, a thought. Whenever you notice that voice, you will also realize that you are not the voice, but the one who is aware of it. In fact, you are the awareness that is aware of the voice. In the background, there is awareness. In the foreground, there is the voice, the thinker. In this way, you are becoming free of the ego, free of the unobserved mind. The moment you become aware of the ego in you, it is strictly speaking no longer the ego, but just an old, conditioned mind pattern. Ego implies unawareness. Awareness and ego cannot coexist. The old mind pattern or mental habit may still survive and recur for a while, because it has the momentum of thousands of years of collected human unconsciousness behind it. But every time it is recognized, it is weakened. So see if you can become aware of the voice in your head, and also aware of the awareness, the still awareness that sits behind the voice. Lastly, bringing in one more passage here. Really bring in a sense of power or choice. There's only one perpetrator of evil on the planet: human unconsciousness. That realization is true forgiveness. With forgiveness, reclaiming the darkness, you bring in the light. Maybe you bring in the hug of the moon, the hug of a loving father, the light. That is your true identity. Take one more moment to ponder your own power. Hold all, but to remember who you are. You pause and linger here. Or maybe you're ready to bring your hands in prayer to your own heart. Embracing yourself as you truly are. Committing to your own personal evolution. More and more pockets of awareness. Awareness not tinged by judgment, but colored with compassion, acceptance, and love. May all beings be at peace. Namaste.